Hey, what's up, Masters? Welcome to another episode of Path to Mastery podcast. And we are with Mr. Jay Noland, Jay Noland official. What is up, man?
Everything is up. Glad to be here with you. I've got a great feeling about this because I got a great feeling about you. I dropped in, heard you speak for the first time. I said, this is my type of man. He has got it point blank. You're going to know exactly where you're at with David right away. And what I love about when you bring it, you're bringing like the truth. You're bringing like the real, and you're bringing impact. 'Cause whenever I hear somebody like that, I'd say that's going to move the bar, help people get better quickly. So I appreciate you and how your approach is, David.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate you as well. And I love your approach, and I love how you give, man. You just were giving, you gave to the room. You sponsored some books. You got some people into Keontae's app. So I just love your giving heart, and the message was powerful. You remind me of my friend Tim Story, man. I don't know. Do you know who Tim Story is?
Yeah, that sounds way familiar.
Well, he's someone you want to know, man. He's no joke, man. He's friends with Oprah. He's a real deal, man. And when he shares, man, it's powerful. So appreciate you, man. Thank you for that. All right. So who are you, as people are probably saying. So what we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about confidence, motivation, and confidence. That's what I come up with for the title.
I like that.
And yeah, like how do we? And you've got an interesting title for your book, which we're going to get to in a couple minutes too. Like I want to understand the title of your book, the power of a woman from the perspective of a real man. So we're going to have to hit that as well. Right? I was like, all right, I don't get that one, but
we got some angles already.
Yeah, amen. All right, so you are an international motivational speaker, former professional athlete. What sport, Jay?
Baseball.
Okay, who'd you play for?
Padres 4 years, Rockies, Mariners a year each.
Oh, nice. Good for you, man.
Finished back in 1995. I climbed all the way up the ladder. I finally get my major league contract. I'm in, I'm about to hit it big. I'm roommates with Alex Rodriguez, playing next to Griffey, and bam, blew my elbow out at the same time. So, but it was a great run. It was a great run, though.
We gotta get. I want to see if I can get my boy Tyrone Poole in here, man. He's hanging out on the. You know Tyrone Poole, right?
Yeah,
I don't know if you know him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He's a good guy. I'm gonna see if I can ping him in here. So, tell us a little bit about you, man. Who are you? What are you doing here right now? Why should people be listening to you, man? Besides all the things I said earlier.
I don't think it's so much they should be listening to me. They should be listening to themselves better. And so what I like to do is just help get people to get that part, because I didn't get that part. I'm a country boy, man. I was born and raised in Kentucky. I'm 54 years old right now. So I was born in 1968 in the Deep South, about a month after Dr. Martin Luther King was assassinated. So I grew up in a lot of racial tension, a lot of strife. And, we lived off the land. My granddad, he raised hogs. So we were always what we call running 75 to 100 hogs at any one time. Now, for those folks that don't know what hogs are, that's big. They're big.
Oh, and hogs is what you said. Yeah. You sound like you're from Massachusetts now.
Yeah, I got the hogs going on. But I grew up, on the farm. I never knew much about success principles other than you work hard, and then you make what you can create. And so that was my background, man, coming off the land. And then I got an opportunity to, being in school, getting around some good coaches. And then my dad made a very key move. So for me at the time, it was devastating, but he left Kentucky when him and my mom divorced when I was 9, and he moved to Florida. And when I turned, 15, 16ish, I moved to Florida, which put me in a much more exposed environment when it comes to sports. And so I finished my high school, my last 2 years of high school in Florida, got a scholarship, went to Central Florida Junior College for a couple of years, then signed with the University of Miami, which was a dream for me, and got drafted by the San Diego Padres in 1988. At the same time, I got tired of eating spaghetti 45 different ways in college. So I said, hey, give me the money. But you know what, David? You give a 19-year-old that hadn't been trained what to do with money, like most people, and that money's not going to be around long. So I blew through some money. Like I say, played professional baseball, blew my elbow out in 95, got involved in entrepreneurship, learned about things like Think and Grow Rich. And then since then have built businesses around the globe, done businesses in 90 countries. I've done personal seminars, big scale in 20 plus countries around the globe, and just been able to enjoy reaching, connecting, and going through with a lot of people, helping them get to different levels while I've grown at the same time.
I love it, man. And you are, you've built multiple multi-million-dollar companies. You focus on helping people with their subconscious mind.
Yeah.
Right. And you also, you have different methods of confidence training. I want to know more about confidence training. Like for everybody, tell us, how do you train confidence?
Well, the great philosopher Aristotle said, give me a child until they are 7 and I'll show you the adult. So break that down. Give me a child until they're 7 years old and I'll show you the adult. I'll show you the man or woman. Because what happens in science is scientifically has been proven that from 0 to 7, pretty much our entire foundation of our subconscious mind is now made up. And so for the rest of our lives, and everybody can research this, for the rest of our lives, we're running as adults based upon what happened to us from 0 to 7. The issue with that and the challenge with that, David, is none of us had any influence from 0 to 7. You didn't get to pick your parents. You didn't get to pick what you ate. You didn't get to pick who watched you, what you got educated with, what you drank, none of that, what you wore for clothes, none of that we got to pick. And so here we are, 0 to 7. Here's our subconscious mind. So I went and studied this. I had to study this because I was having a deep issue with feeling happy inside. So no matter how much I was succeeding outwardly in life, inside I just couldn't get happy. And I was like, what the hell is going on? Well, that traces back to what happened to me from 0 to 7. At 7 years of age, my dad shot himself and I was close by. Now he ended up living through it. I guess the story is he meant to kill my mom and then himself, but he eventually just turned the gun around himself and he tried to shoot himself in the heart and he missed and lived through it. But all those years went by where, after he came out of surgery and he healed up, he just became like dad again. But in my mind, the whole time I'm looking at this man like, number one, are you going to snap at any time? Number two, why did you want to leave me? And so as I dissected that, I figured out that's why I wasn't really happy, because my mom, she ended up abandoning. Who could blame her? She left. So I just started focusing on what are the modalities out there that I could use to be able to help heal what was going on in me. And most people say emotion or mental, but it's really subconscious is the issue. I found that if you could help heal and nurture your subconscious, that's where all your happiness or potential happiness resides, David. And I've got different methods to be able to make that happen now.
I was interestingly enough, I was interviewing earlier today. I interviewed Rex Sykes, and we were just having a similar conversation about
close friend of mine.
Oh, really?
Close.
Oh, wow. Really? Okay. Oh,
like
wow. No idea, man. No idea. And so it's and he was also talking about, subconscious and, just being grateful, enjoying life, being present. And why subconscious keeps coming up today. Why is that so like, how, like, I would say, like, I'm trying to think of a question here, like when it comes to subconscious mind, like, because it's really everything, but most people don't spend enough time, right? Or are we able to spend? Like, how do we fix our subconscious mind, or is there even a way to fix it?
Oh yeah, there's a way. It's called reprogramming. Everything you know now is based on a program. Brain waves is a big deal. So what happens with your brain waves is critical. So they've got these things called delta, theta, right? You got, beta, you got gamma, you got all these different brain waves. So based upon how fast those waves are happening is determined what they call those waves. Well, from 0 to 4 hertz per second, as your brain is waving, you're in what's called a delta state. That's why they always tell you get a good deep REM sleep, a delta sleep. That's where you can really heal, you can restore, you can rest. But most people don't get a good delta sleep because they're stressed out. From 4 hertz to 8 hertz is when you move into theta. Theta is kind of like a hypnotic state. What's interesting about this, David, is from 2 to 7, our brains are operating at theta. in like a hypnotic state. That's why if I ask you questions about, hey, Dave, what was going on with you when you were 4? It's like you can't pick it up because you were in a hypnotic state. But that is the most influential state. That's where you learn the most. Like my son is 7. He's completely bilingual. He goes in and out of English and Spanish all the time, no problem, because he's in that theta state where he can just absorb so much. So you got 2 ways to be able to correct your programming. And this is important for everybody to understand, because your entire immune system, I ask people this, I don't know if you knew this, David, your entire immune system is housed in your subconscious mind. And so that's just how powerful this is. So if you look at how many people are sick, well, it could be because they have a sick subconscious. Well, if we take some time to deal with this, you got 2 ways. You can bull rush it. So there's a book that you probably heard of before. It's called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Yes.
So if you read that book, he'll talk about auto-suggestion. Now, it's important when you do auto-suggestion. If you do, he says, do it when you first wake up. But Napoleon didn't tell you why that's critical. Because when you're first waking up, you're in theta. So you can get it deep. You do it right before you go to sleep. As you're getting real tired, you start to doze off. You start moving into theta. If you do auto-suggestion and you do that long enough, then you can bull rush your subconscious mind. The problem is most people have lifing on them. They got all these distractions. They got all this stress. And so they get off chart of it, and you got to keep starting over. Or you can do this thing, which hardly anybody knows about, and I'm going to do all I can to let the world know about it. It's called brainwave entrainment. Brainwave entrainment is through sound frequencies. So there's things called binaural beats, and there's going to probably be people, if you're in the chat over on Clubhouse, they can talk about, hey, do you know anything about binaural beats? Do you know anything about solfeggio tones? Do you know anything about isochronics? They didn't teach us any of this stuff in school, but I wouldn't study it. And so I wanted to be happy. I couldn't get over this thing with my mom and my dad. So I went and got some of the world's top sound experts, and with music, layer these tones at specific coded hertz over beautiful music. And then I started reconditioning my subconscious mind. Wow. And I don't care what anybody says. I'm talking about for me. For me, after about 21 days at about 11 minutes a day, all that bitterness, all of that, it just went away from me. So I coded something for myself. Then I went and said, if this is good for me, I'm going to make it for the world. So I created confidencetones.com, where people, you can go over and test it out. So confidencetones.com, you can go over. And if you got a good pair of headphones, just put them on. And man, you can dial in pretty much what you want, David. It's really a trip.
Are you familiar with, it was called Center Point? It's a form of meditation where it's similar. It sounds, it gets you into that theta brainwaves. Yeah. I've been meditating for, probably 15 years now.
So you understand that? I mean, it's
well, you know, I'm on I do TM. I do transcendental now. It's a little different. I'm not getting the sounds, but you just kind of reminded me of that, and I may have to go check that out again because it was powerful. How does
every morning I wake up, I put my headphones on first thing in the morning.
Yeah. Is somebody able to to get into that theta via, because you mentioned sleep earlier, but how would you achieve that through sleep?
Well, I got specific tones. Like I've got one called slumber tones, and we code it to put you into delta, and that puts you into a deep sleep. It's kind of funny because anytime my son has an issue sleeping, we just take the tones, put them by him, then 5 minutes he's gone or less. And so he'll ask for them sometime. Like he'll be kind of like restless. He'll say, "Mommy, can you bring me the tones?" And so it's just based on how you code it. And you know, and again, if you want to get specifics on it, they can dial in and we can, hurry the conversation. But I've got people that's really understanding how important this is. And I just think it's just a healthier alternative. Not that I tell people, you go get professional help but if you want to use some alternative, healthier self-care methods, this is just one of them that I love.
Yeah. So how important? So what I'm taking, and I wrote this down earlier. So listening to you. So our programming is what affects our subconscious mind. So if there's a way to change our programming, we can change our subconscious mind. Is that accurate?
Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. You change your program. Because how is it that you believe what you believe? Like you got things in you, you just do what? Unconsciously. Let's take it this way. Driving. When you first were learning how to drive, what were you doing? 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock on the steering wheel, put your blinker on 500, yards, feet, in front of before you get to the next person. So you think about driving now. If you ever drove somewhere and you go, how did I even get here? And like women, you'll catch them sometime doing makeup and they got the kids and there's no way they can know what they're doing. They're doing that subconsciously. So there's 4 levels of consciousness. You've got unconscious incompetence. Then you've got I should say competence. There's 4 levels of competence. You got unconscious incompetence where you just don't know what you don't know. Then you got conscious incompetence where you admit that you don't know. That's the big learning part. It's called humility. And then you've got conscious competence. Now I know it, 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock. Keep my eyes on the road, blinker in. And then I do that long enough, and then it becomes unconscious competence. So there's things we do in our life now, we don't have to think about them at all. It's unconscious competence. Well, you're being something knows that. What is it that knows that? It's your subconscious. So I was able to go back and figure out those unconscious, competent, crazy feelings about what my dad did inside. And I started just listening to tones and suggestive. We mix in, people can do it just with the tones, but we can also do suggestions with the tones. So while we can walk you through a modality, we can just talk to you about who you really are. And it's amazing, man. If you do that repetitiveness with those tones, it just conditions, for me, it conditioned. And I just started feeling different. Like I just got to, and it was up in my 40s. I'm like, I'm happy, And then I asked my dad. I had to get the guts to ask him why he did what he did. I didn't ask him until I was like 48, 49 years old. And when I asked him, David, he put his head down immediately, looked down, tears all in his eyes. He said, son, I was just being young, dumb, and stupid. He goes, I was trying to keep your mama from leaving me. He walks over and gives me the biggest hug. He's squeezing me. He goes, I'm sorry, son. You forgive me? I said, Daddy, I forgive you. So that bitterness in me turned immediately through the process of me getting my subconscious mind together. It turned into empathy. And man, empathy is a whole different level. It turned into gratification. So I started really being grateful that I was able to help my dad through. It helped heal him, because imagine what he was thinking to have done that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's powerful, man. I haven't seen my father in probably since I was 13. So it's been a minute. Yeah. So anyway, I don't want to get into all that, but I got a lot of stuff there from the childhood, man. So a lot of stuff. I'm
gonna get you access, get you some VIP access, and you can tell everybody what you think.
All right, man. Absolutely. I'll take you up on that. So I want to talk about the title, man. So that, this is something I've been working on myself, man. 20 years of just personal development, trying to fix a broken individual. And I hate to say broken, but that was that was the result of what I took from my childhood,
Right.
And so it's work, it's consistency, it's time on task over time. Earlier Rex talked about awareness. Like I'm aware. My wife says that to me all the time. Like you have this awareness about stuff, and I do. But I want to talk about the title. I don't want to talk all about me, man, and my issues. So I love doing podcasting because it's like free coaching, man. It's
you start getting it out.
Yeah, and I've had some cool people on, man. I'll tell you, Mel Robbins came on, and she's a freaking beast, man. You're a beast, but I'll tell you, you know what she said? I'll tell you the one thing that she said that stuck with me is she said, when your alarm clock goes off and you hit the snooze button, you just gave up on your all day's goals. Like you just shot your whole goals for the day. You just said that my day's not even important. I'll promise you, I've never hit my snooze button again after that.
That's in your subconscious now. See?
Yeah, it is in my subconscious. Let's talk about the title, man. So I put together building motivation and confidence. I don't even know if that was my title I come up with.
Right.
Are they connected?
Motivation and confidence?
Yeah. Do you think they're connected in a way?
1,000,000%, right? Because if that's why motivation is so important, because it gives you the energy to do something. If I'm not motivated, I'm not going to do it. Just like the alarm clock. See, that arm reaching or not reaching is based on the motivation.
Well, you got to put it in the bathroom too, by the way. That's your next tip. It has to go. You can't reach it. You got to be out of arm's length.
Right? Go to the bathroom. Yeah. That's a great tip. Everybody stick their alarm clocks in the bathroom.
You get that phone.
No, they're completely connected, man. I tell everybody, if you got enough motivation and inspiration, you can conquer the world. You can conquer your world at least. So yes, 1,000,000%.
So how does somebody? So I want to talk to. I want some people to maybe come in here. Maybe with everything happening right now, Jay. We got inflation. We got I mean, it's reality, right? There's some people aren't doing so great right now. Maybe how does someone get through this? And what would you say to some people like when it comes to confidence and right now? How does somebody show up? Maybe on the inside, because here's the reality. For a lot of years, I had to show up like I was a trainer. I'd go in front of a room of 125 people, and on the inside, man, I was scared to death.
Like a athletic trainer, physical trainer.
No. So I used to teach for Keller Williams. I would do training on teach a class, but on the inside, I was so scared, man. But I just kept showing up, and I kept showing up. So what do you say to people that kind of feel like that? Like maybe because a lot of people wouldn't even take the stage,
right?
One
of the greatest fears that people have is public speaking. And a lot of times I get people that I say, look, I want you to picture you outside looking at you. And I said, can you do that? They go, yeah, I can do that. And I ask them a few more questions, and we're talking like me and you're talking. A few more questions, right? And then I go, okay, now here we're just talking. Here comes a microphone in front of your face. So what changed? And they go, well, it's the microphone. I'm like, how much power does the microphone have? And they go, I say, okay, me and you are talking. Here's a group of people that's coming looking at us. Aren't we still having a conversation? And they go, yeah, but they're over there. Oh, so the whole issue is the microphone, external, those people, external. Well, how come when it was just me and you talking, you didn't go to external? Why were you just talking to me without sweating, without freaking out? Like what's the difference? And they say, well, I was more comfortable because it's just me and you talking. And I say, that's how you do public speaking. You just have a conversation as if you're talking to each person, or as if I'm talking to the mic as if it was a living, breathing being. So I give my microphones life. And it's important to me. I'm gonna tell you why. Because my entire foundation when it comes to success principles was originally built off of Think and Grow Rich, which I read November of 1995. That book was written in 1937-ish. Then last year, and I've been hearing about the science of getting rich the whole time. For 25 years, I've been hearing about the science of getting rich by Wallace D. Wattles, but I have my thing, Think and Grow Rich. As a matter of fact, I'm one of three people in the world that has their own Napoleon Hill Foundation sanctioned book where I co-wrote the foreword in a book. As a matter of fact, the book I showed you, this is my own version of this book.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's sanctioned by the Napoleon Hill. So that's how deep I was into the book. Then last year, I was watching a YouTube video, and everybody should watch it. It's Rhonda Byrne, the founder of The Secret. She's doing an interview on Conscious TV. And Rhonda Byrne, are you looking for your secret book over there?
Yeah, I got two of them. Yeah, you see me. I'm looking over. Here's one. I got this one here. So,
okay,
but I got a couple different ones up here,
you got the juice. See.
Yeah, so you got to have that book, right? That's
Rhonda
foundational.
Byrne, David says, she says in 2000, it's the first time I really listened to her story. But the way she was talking made me lean in. She goes, in 2004, I just lost my business, $2 million in debt. One of my parents died. I had a child that was bad sick. I was having an emotional breakdown. This is Rhonda Byrne, who created one of the greatest movements ever in personal growth. She says her adult daughter walked in and gave her, wasn't this one? This is the one I recreated. This one here, The Science of Getting Rich. She gave her an old photocopy of The Science of Getting Rich. And she says, Mom, read that. It'll make you feel better. And she says, all right. So she says she read it in 90 minutes. You ever heard the story?
No, I have
Dude,
not.
she says she read it in 90 minutes. Now I'm leaning way in, David. I'm like, I'm leaning way up. She goes, I read it in 90 minutes. She said, it changed my life. She goes, I was instantly inspired. And right from that, I created The Secret. And she said, I didn't worry about how it was going to happen. I took the principles in the book. I immediately applied them. And she says, and look what's happened. She said, so that book was my inspiration for doing The Secret. I said, damn, I got to read the book. So I went immediately and got the book. So here, big Think and Grow Rich person, everybody knows me around the world from teaching Think and Grow Rich. Here, all of a sudden, I read the book. After I read 2 chapters, I start feeling like, as much as I've grown, I started feeling like my life had changed. Like I had a rebirthing in me. I said, man, I got to teach this book. After the 17 chapters, I think. After 2 chapters, I felt like I got to go teach the book. After 4 chapters, I said, I got to republish the book. I own a publishing company. So I'm like, I told my wife, I said, honey, we're going to republish this book under our company, MYB Publishing. And she says, huh? I said, honey, go start reading the book. And by the time I got through with it, I called my wife up. I said, listen, baby, there's no way our relationship is going to be able to be the same if you don't read this book. I said, I'm gone. I said, I am on another level. I mean, David, literally, I called my best friend. We was at his house. I said, come here, man. He goes, what? I said, let's go out on your porch. I brought the dude out on the porch. Y'all know, you know it's serious if you take somebody out on the porch. I said, let's go on the porch. We walk out on the porch. He said, man, what the hell's going on? I said, bro, I want you to read this book. I said, I want you to look me in the eyes. He said, what? I said, if you don't get this, your best friend, I'm going to be gone personally. I'm going to love you, but you're not going to be able to keep up with me with my growth because I'm already all out.
Dude, what's the book again? Give me the name of the book, man. What's this book? Science of Getting Rich. All right, everybody, listen. You need. I'm putting this right now on my desktop.
I want you to get. If you're gonna get it, this is the only version in the world. Again, I'm not shy about telling stuff that's gonna help people, even if it makes me money. So I'll make some money from this. If you go to getsogr.com, getsogr.com. I've done a study on it. I did a short movie on it with my production company. And I took this book, and this is especially important for women, because in 1910, when the book was originally written, you know, David, how they talk when a man does this and if a man would do that. And a man, not that I know him because I've got to know his personality through studying him. He was talking that language. So women weren't really included on the conversation. They couldn't even vote at that time. They couldn't even vote till around 1920. So I went and took 2 months of my own self. I went page by page, word by word, and I took out all the masculine wording so the ladies don't have to go compartmentalize that. So instead of when it says and when a man, it says when a person. And so all through this whole book, it's demasculinized. So I took out the masculinity just to make it to where I didn't want a woman to go, oh yeah, he's talking about humankind when he says a man. And that's why I had to do it, because I said, I'm going to teach it all over the world. I said, I'm going to teach this book all over the world. Now, here's what happened. So Forbes Riley, she hears me talk. She goes, huh? She goes, you serious about this? JB Owens, who owns a big part, she goes, Jay, I mean, they can feel me like you feeling me now. So they immediately go, I'm gonna get. They went and got it. So we got a whole little mini movement going now because of the philosophies that are so simple. It like almost frees you immediately.
That's good, man. That's good. You know, I just, it's interesting. I'm glad you brought that circle, because when I brought up the speaking, I wasn't necessarily talking about public speaking as I was being somebody that would had to get up in front of a room and people would have thought I was like really confident.
Yep.
But on the inside, I was very unconfident and uncertain, and you know what I mean? And I think a lot of people, unfortunately, we just
So you
deal
felt
with
like
that.
you felt like you grew up that way?
Well, I've come a long way from that point in my life, but I just grew up. I carried a lot of stuff from my childhood with me. You know, I carried a lot of those
Yeah, like
baggage you talked about.
when dad jets out like that, it's funny, man. So your dad left
Well,
13, right?
my mom was always my dad used to beat everybody. So my mom was always like trying to, like, we would go places to try to escape my dad, and he would somehow find us. And then, so that was like my childhood, you know, going from different foster, you know, wherever we were. I don't know. My mother, we went to different places, but anyway, you know, like I said, I don't want to get into all that, the detail.
But the bottom line is you did it.
Yeah, we did. But, you know, but then you gotta, you know, so I'm just grateful that, you know, I've got 3 daughters, and man, I've just been blessed to be able to raise them the right way. And they never experienced anything like some of the stuff I went through as a kid. So, you know, but I the reason I brought that up though is and I'm not going to get into the whole, I've never really understood that term, imposter syndrome. But when I was, that's what it reminded me of when I was sharing that. Like, did you believe that's real, or is that just, it's like I never heard that term before Clubhouse, personally.
Yeah, I mean, it's called self-sabotage. Same thing. You know, I mean, you got to, if I let a dog loose in my house, the dog's going to tear my house up. If I let a child loose in my house, the child's going to tear the house up. Undisciplined people and even animals are not happy. So you're not happy until you have structure, until you have discipline. So yeah, I completely believe it. That's why I love the book so much. You know, he makes this statement, Wallace D. Wattles, who wrote in 1910, he says, there's a thinking stuff from which all things are made, which in its original state permeates, penetrates, and fills the inner spaces of the universe. So that's his foundation. He says, if you want to change your life, you must first think of this monistic approach that everything is interconnected and all comes from one original substance. He says, now this original substance, he calls it thinking stuff, which I was like, what the heck is he talking about? Thinking stuff. He says, a thought that's held in this formless substance. So then he goes and opens it up. So listen to those words, formless substance. So how can it be a substance if it's formless? For those of you seeing the video, you see me doing my hand like it's, how can it be it's formless? He says a thought that is held in this formless substance creates the thing that is imagined by the thought. Now, but it's formless. And so what he makes you understand is you cannot see the wind, but we know the wind is there because we can feel it. Even if you take your hands and go like this, you will feel wind. So what that wind is air. It's composed of air. What air is the formless substance. Can you get away from air? No. Once you understand this, that you can't get away from air, and that whatever you think and you hold in this air, it comes to be. That's how the original creation was created, to continue procreating. So he handles that. Then he handles the guilt issue, which almost everybody listening to us has. He says, and I've got to see this. We're the only species on earth that feel guilty about abundance. If you go outside and look at a tree, can you imagine a tree feeling guilty about growing, about creating, like an oak tree creating more acorns? The oak tree doesn't go, man, should I drop some more of these acorns on the ground and create a forest? An oak tree don't do that stuff. An oak tree does what it was created to do. And guess what we are supposed to do? The same. And so you see the title, The Science of Getting Rich, and everybody thinks that word rich is talking about money. Money is just about a component of what happens when you understand who you are. It's almost inevitable for money to come track you down once you get you right from this philosophy. Yeah, it's good questions, man.
I'm thinking about the podcast, and this is I've done over 300 episodes now, and my interviews, I used to go fast, 20-30 minutes, and you saw the form I sent you to. I got to fix that, because it's always, we're 45 minutes in now, and I could do this for another hour with you. Yeah. And I just did similar with it's just the last couple months, it's always gone like this. So I got to fix that. It's just been on my mind because, I've been pay attention to Rex Friedman, who I'm guessing, Joe, those guys, they do long form content, but, I'm not even sure where I was going with that, to be honest with you. At this point, it's just it's good. It's good to have you here. I had a question in there somewhere, but let me transition to your book title. Okay. The Power of a Woman from the Perspective of a Real Man. What tell us about that?
Well, I was influenced so much. That's the book, by the way, right here. And Les Brown wrote my foreword in this book. And the reason Les Brown wrote the foreword in the book is because we were talking, and I sent him a copy of it. He said, let me read it. Once he read it, you read what he wrote, because he wrote the foreword. It tripped him out, the angle I was taking, because I was ready. When my dad shot himself, my mom left. It was Ida Mae Noland, my grandma, who swooped in with my grandfather, but she was the primary love component. I felt her. She nurtured me. So I felt that. And I watched her in that kitchen, man, that hot ass kitchen with no air conditioning. She put breakfast, she cooked breakfast, she made lunch, she made dinner. And when we went to bed, she was tucking us in. She gave her soul to us, me, her 3 kids, and then her 7 grandkids. I was the oldest. And then when I got in business after my crazy injury to my elbow, my first 3 business mentors were these strong women. And they helped me see things from a perspective. I'm so grateful, because as they were teaching me, they said, where does money come from? Have you heard that money doesn't grow on trees? I said, yeah. How many of you have heard of that? You've heard that, Dave, right?
Of course.
Right? Yeah. Go in the store and with my grandma Ida Mae. Grandma, I want some of this. I want some of that. She turned around. She goes, listen, boy, money don't grow on trees.
Yeah.
And think about it. From a Southern grandma, I never would have said, well, grandma, where does it grow at then? I would have never said that. So you grow up with these complexes about where does money grow? So these business women said money grows in other people's pockets. And who are those people? They're both men and women. And they said, they were talking to me. They were like, whoever learns to attract the most people, both men and women, will make the most money. And I was like, damn. They said, so you having a professional athlete's background, having all this ego, if you let us work with you, and they told me straight up, they says, our whole goal when we work with somebody is to try to get them to quit quick. They said, we don't want to waste time. These women were like, and listen, I was 27. The one that was talking to me
trying to get them to quit. You mean like give up? Like,
yeah, they just like the Navy SEALs, man. They they put you through hard mental
stuff. I love that. Yeah.
They said, if you're going to quit, you need to quit quit.
Yeah, don't waste our time. Let's get it done right
and these
away.
women was in my ass about stuff. They didn't let nothing slip. Nothing. So I'm 27. The one mentor heard me talk about the book, she was 23 from Romania. She didn't even speak good English, but she was documented. Back then you could show your checks, what you were making. She showed me her checks. And here I am living with a roommate that blew all my money as a professional athlete. And I got this young 23-year-old, I'm 27. And I'm like, damn. So I was listening to her. She introduces me to her mentor who was 26. And off the hook. Can y'all feel me when I'm talking? These women were off, and I'll introduce you to some of them sometime. I've let people meet them, and every time they go, damn, to this day, they raise a shark. The 26-year-old introduces me to my core mentor. She's a big whopping 28. So I'm 27, she's 28. And when I first met her, she used to say, listen, honey. She would honey me. She'd go, listen, honey. I'd ask her a question. She'd go, listen, honey. I said, how did you do what you've done? Because she was a millionaire, documented millionaire at 28. And I said, how did you do what you did? And she go, listen, honey. I kind of laughed. Dave was laughing with me. She go, listen, honey. She goes, at the age of 22, I was a bartender. And then I started learning how to duplicate my efforts and create residual income streams, multiple streams of income. But it has to be residual. She goes, so where most of my friends were running, trying to get their degrees, and people were going banging their heads at these corporate jobs. She goes, I've been duplicating and building out residuals for the past 6 years. And she says, so now I'll make more in a month than most people make in a year, honey. And she says, so if you listen to me, I can help you. But if not, we'll find somebody that will listen. So I was under that tutelage, man, for about 18 months. So then I progressed, and this was my big. So that stuck with me. Then 2014, my wife gets pregnant. After we found out she's pregnant, I forgot how many weeks it was, but we go in and they said that this doctor was 85% accurate at predicting the sex of the child. So he predicts, he goes, you're going to have a little girl. When he said, I'm going to have a little girl, you said you got 3 girls. Imagine when you first heard it. My heart went down in my toes. Because I've been thinking, little boy, little boy, little boy. I'm going to have my son. He said, you're going to have a little girl. I got to tell you, I don't know how you dealt with it, Dave. I don't know how you dealt with it because now I got a son. He ended up being a son. But for 1 month, I thought I was having a girl. And that's what ended up making me write this book.
Wow.
And I write this book as if my little girl's coming in the world. I'm writing this book to create an environment to protect as much as possible my little girl.
Wow.
So the power of a woman from the perspective of real men, that means real men are not afraid of a woman's shine. And I go over statistics because people don't see. I did a clubhouse March 8th through March. We did 72 straight hours on Clubhouse. It was a international women's event on Clubhouse from March the 8th to March 11th, 2021. 72 straight hours. One story after the next of abuse, of some type of abuse. My wife put another Clubhouse on for 24 hours. It was women's abuse awareness. Thousands, David, of people came through, and we had professionals hired that because we knew it was going to be emotional, but it was women's abuse. And during the event, we had some women that were in abusive relationships they got extracted during those events.
Wow.
Women were getting help. So I was sitting there going, man, this is like a theme. Then in my statistics, it says that approximately 137 women get murdered every day in the world by a close associate or family member. Every day. So it's really a bad situation. People's trying to sweep it under the rug. I said, to hell with it. If my little girl's coming in this world, I'm going to write to empower and make men think it's a cool thing to not be afraid of a woman's power. That's the gist behind it.
Well, I love it, my friend. And listen, I this has been phenomenal. Like I said, I could definitely go on all day, but we're not going to do that right now. We will schedule another one. What's the best way for people to get in touch with you, get a copy of your book? How do you want us to connect with you?
Well, you know, my social media, you see J Noland Official. That's my Instagram. But you can go to J Noland Mastery and jnolandmastery.com. That will list where it'll take you straight over to all the different books. And, you know, I'm all over social media with different things. On Facebook, it's just J Noland, but TikTok is J Noland Official. I'm starting to TikTok now. Like,
yeah, me too. It's funny.
Just started, you know, I'm just like trying to get the hang of that. But, you know, really, you know, it's just if you connect, you'll see my social media, especially if you connect with me on Instagram, you'll see all kind of stuff that I drop.
Coincidentally, I started a 10-week challenge yesterday with Billy Jean. You know Billy Jean, who he is on TikTok. He's a big influencer on YouTube, but he's doing
Billy Jean out of California. Yeah.
He's doing it. I jumped in his thing yesterday. It was awesome. So he's got us all on TikTok. My wife, yeah, it's a lot of eyeballs on TikTok right now.
A lot of eyeballs, man. I tell everybody get over there. I'm gonna give people a secret to TikTok as well. This is the first time I'm gonna say this in public on David, his show. So for those of you that are out here, you caught a tip. And here you go. There's a competitor to TikTok that hardly anybody knows about. That's a gold mine. It's called Clapper. Have you heard of it?
I have heard of it. Yeah, I have heard of it.
Okay. I just barely went on there and messed around, got about 3,000 followers that fast.
Really?
Over on Clapper. I mean, it's crazy. They're very interactive. So it's good to drop some content on Clapper as you're building out your TikTok. That's a good little tip because and I think it's very, very easier to monetize on there as well. So just a little side note.
I love it. Last question, man. So you mentioned J Noland Mastery, right? You added the mastery to the end of the name. Podcast is called Path to Mastery. What does mastery mean to you?
Wow, I just picked that up. Mastery means when you have owned your own thoughts on a subject. So until you can think the way you want to think, I'm quoting Wallace D. Wallace again, you can't have a mastery of something unless you think the way you want to think about that subject. So that to me is when I can think the way I want to think. That's the first step in owning every portion of my life. So I teach it in 6 pillars. I believe you got to master 6 pillars. You got to master your mental, your emotional, your social, your physical, your spiritual, and your financial. And so to get mastery in all those levels are very important. So I've either mastered them, close to mastering, and asking people to come on the journey with the mastery as well. So that's why I named it that. Awesome, man. Well, definitely appreciate you. We got some peeps on Clubhouse. I'm gonna shut down. Well, you know what? Let me see. We got Karen and Peter. And do either you guys have a question for Jay before I close it down? I'll open it up for one question. Anybody, if you do give me a mic flash. Yeah, Karen, what's up? How's it going, Karen?
Hi, good, David. How are you? Thank you, Jay. That was amazing. I did order that book as well, so I'm looking forward to learning more about that. And just thank you. It was very inspiring as always, David. Thank you.
Appreciate you, Karen.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Karen. Always good to hear from you. All right, Jay. Well, listen, appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's. Peter, what's up, boss? How are you?
I'm being good, man. That was awesome. Thank you, Jay. Really appreciate it. I just ordered the ebook as well. I have a question for Jay. What keeps you focused?
What keeps me focused is I made a commitment in 1993. I can't shake it. One of my best friends committed suicide. The night before, I was going to kill myself. The next day, he actually did it. I was this is when I was playing pro ball too. And the next day I was training in the off season, and my old high school coach came down and said, "Hey, I got to tell you something. Jerry killed himself this morning." It shook me to my core. So a couple of days after we buried him, I was doing some cleaning work in the off season for my dad. He had a cleaning business. I was in this old HR building, 100+ offices, vacuuming, taking out trash and stuff. And I got in this room, and this tripped me out, Peter, David, and Karen, and I see my sister Samantha there. Hey, Samantha. She's awesome. And I literally looked on the floor, David, and there's a newspaper that was open to the obituary page with one of my best friends ever, his face on it, looking at me in that office.
Wow.
I mean, I didn't even know what the chances were that it would be open to the obituary page. So here I was a few days before going to kill myself. I'm all devastated because and down and, you know, pouring out a little liquor because my friend's done killed himself. And now I'm staring at him. And Peter, for about a minute, I looked at that paper. And after a minute of looking at that paper, I said, Jerry, I'm not going out like that. I said, if I'm going to go out, I'm going all out. And dude, I'm telling you, that's 1993. I've been going all out ever since. I'm blazing. If you come in my world, I'm trying to maximize everything. I've done as best I can to eliminate fear. I'm telling you, when you go in that spot and you make those kind of changes, you're going to have opposition like you've never had before, because it's very few people on earth that's going to step in that realm of I'm unlimited. And governments hate it. People in power hate it. And I've been chased by them all. They hate me all over the world, these different people that hate freedom because I'm unlimited. But guess what? The worst thing they can do, the worst thing can happen to me is going to do what I was going to do in 1993. So when people try to, intimidate me, I'm like, you think I care about that? I was going to kill myself, man. And my best friend did it. And so I'm still on the maxing out time. So that's what motivates me, Peter. You catching me on that mode, and I'm going to be like that every time you see me. Especially when I get to roll with people like David Hill, man. This dude here, this is one of my dudes now.
Well, hey, man, let's go,
Thank you
bro.
for sharing, man. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
Thanks, Peter. Good question, man. Thank you for that.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
that. All right, awesome. Well, listen, we are gonna wrap it up, man. I'm gonna change my schedule now for podcasts. I'm gonna tell people, it's gonna be an hour. So
Right.
you know what I'm saying?
Because David, you flow, man. Like literally, I want to give you kudos because you flow. How I was attracted to you from the first time I heard you speak. You can't fake real. That's who you are. And I appreciate that, brother. Really, I do.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you as well. Yeah, definitely want to connect with you, man, offline as well. So appreciate you and thank you for being on the show. All right, man.
All right. Much love.